Good morning. My name is Steve Todd, and I am the worship leader this morning. I serve as a member of the Board of Trustees and co-leader of our worship team, our wonderful worship team. One thing I love about this congregation is that while we have a rich history and traditions, I don't recall ever hearing someone say, "We've never done it that way before." Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder. I want to take a moment to extend a very warm welcome to everyone who's visiting us for the first time. If you're joining us online, please fill out a visitor form in the link in the description. We'd love to connect with you. To give you some idea of what we're all about, let me tell you about our mission. We say that here, as a beacon of liberal religion, we connect bravely, deepen spiritually, embody justice, and always love. What we mean is that this community is inviting you into our shared time together today, but it's also inviting you into a way of life, a way of being in the world that may transform you. We want to grow as individuals and to welcome more people into this community, and we want to help you in your personal dream to make the world and your life better. So, there you go, the church in a nutshell. A few announcements. Thanks to the 30-some people who made our first community night such a good time last Friday. Our next community night is Friday, December 2nd, first Friday, from 6 to 8. You bring a potluck dish to share if you choose, and then join in Christmas caroling around the neighborhood. This Saturday night, from 6 to 8, is our church auction and dinner. You can buy your tickets today following the service and enjoy an evening, again, of good food, good company, and good things to bid on. If you're looking for a Thanksgiving dinner to join, Thanksgiving Day we'll host a potluck dinner here at the church, and all are welcome. Look for more information in the weekly email, or I assume they can check online. UU Church of Boulder. And finally, if you are new to Unitarian Universalism or this church, then right after the service, Reverend David and our membership coordinator, Irene, lead a 45-minute new to you session in the listening room, just through the back door over there. Grab coffee and stop by for an informal way to connect and learn more about us.
And because I can't resist adding one more announcement, the other thing happening after the service today at 12:30 is another visioning session. The board's been leading these sessions over the last week, and we've had 40-ish, 50-ish people so far participate in imagining what is the future that we want for this physical building. This year we're exploring our options of what's even possible, and we're exploring through these sessions our hopes of what would we want if anything was possible. I hope if you haven't yet participated in one of these, you'll grab a bite to eat and then stop by after the service today. We have come to this day. We have arrived in this moment carried through our ancestors, those honored names who are more than just our lineage. In this hour, we meet their sacrifices and triumphs, their mistakes and their vision. We meet their shortcomings and their hopes, their fears and their aspirations. We've come to this moment through our ancestors, our lives made possible by them, and now they ask us, where will we go? Will we keep faith with the saints and seers who have called every generation to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with every force of love alive in this world? Let us worship. Will you rise in body or spirit? Let's sing that intention out together. Each week that we gather, we light our chalice, just as nearly 1,000 other congregations do each week around the country and the world. It's a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist past and present and future. It's a visible reminder of our interconnection. And this week for our chalice lighting, this election week, I share words from the poet W.H. Auden, written on the eve of the Second World War. May it be an affirmation and a prayer against the numbing, mindless, everyday lie of authority and status quo. A prayer against the lie of individual disconnection and fundamental isolation. The poet writes this: all I have is a voice to undo the folded lie, the romantic lie in the brain of the sensual man in the street, and the lie of authority whose buildings grope the sky. There is no such thing as the state, and no one exists alone. Hunger allows no choice to the citizen or the police. We must love one another or die. Defenseless under the night, our world in stupor lies, yet dotted everywhere, ironic points of light flash out wherever the just exchange their messages. May I, composed like them of eros and of dust, beleaguered by the same negation and despair, show an affirming flame. May that be our work as well, beleaguered as we may be by negation and despair. Nonetheless, we light an affirming flame. In public, And at the polls, let our words and actions and our votes declare that no one exists alone.
Our covenant is the promise we make to each other about how we will be together in community. It is simple, maybe deceptively so. It is demanding, perhaps surprisingly so. In person and online, I invite you to join together as one to speak it aloud and listen to the words. We gather in fellowship to speak truth to each other, to reach out and touch one another, to care with each other, and to seek the truth divine. So be it.
You join me in a spirit of stillness, a spirit of prayer and meditation. On this Sunday closest to Veterans Day, before Veterans Day, we recognize those among us here who are serving or have served in the armed forces, and also those lost in war. No matter how we stand on the wars our nation fights, or war in general, it is fitting to pause and remember our veterans and our dead. We do this in honor of the original intent of Veterans Day, not to glorify war, but in fact to do just the opposite, to recognize its terrible cost. Not to incite nationalistic fervor, but to look ever more fervently toward world community and the living dream of peace and justice. In recognition of all those wounded in war in body, mind, and spirit, in recognition of all those who have died in war, in uniform and civilians, I invite you to pause with me in a moment of silence. These words from the poet William Stafford. This is the field where the battle did not happen, where the unknown soldier did not die. This is the field where grass joined hands, where no monument stands, and the only heroic thing is the sky. Birds fly here without any sound, unfolding their wings across the open. No people killed or were killed on this ground, hallowed by neglect and an air so tame that people celebrate it by forgetting its name. We honor the living, and we mourn the many dead. Amen. The commitment we make with each other to connect bravely means that we're called to be glad with those who rejoice and to weep with those who mourn. Each week we set aside this time in the service to make visible in ritual the joys and the sorrows that are shaping our lives. For those meeting in person, I invite you to come forward as you feel moved when the music begins. Silently take a stone and place it into this tray of earth to symbolize your joys, your cares, the weight of them, the substance of them, and how they take their place in a larger whole. For the blessings and the concerns we carry, we hold this compassionate space with love. This election week, as we consider the paths we've traveled as a nation and the different roads ahead for us, I shared these words from Langston Hughes. He wrote this in 1935, a black man only one generation removed from slavery, but the words are no less sharp for their age. This could have been written this week, called "Let America Be America Again." Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you who mumbles in the dark? Who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the black man bearing slavery's scars. I am the native man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only that same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man, full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker sold to the machine. I am the black man servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean. Hungry yet today, despite the dream, beaten yet today, O pioneers. I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years. Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore and Poland's plain and England's grassy lea, and torn from black Africa's strand I came to build a homeland for the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me, surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay. For all the dreams we've dreamed, and all the songs we've sung, and all the hopes we've held, and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay, except the dream that's almost dead today. Let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, The land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man, Indians, black man's, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain must bring back our mighty dream again. And sure, call me by any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again, America. Oh yeah, I say it plain. America never was America to me. And yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the wreck and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we, the people, must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plain, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America again.
Far away and distant lands, the tempest tossed with hopeful hearts and calloused hands, reach for the light, the torch held high, and cast their gaze upon the lady of the harbor. And she welcomes them with open arms. She says, "Let my children in." Shine on, oh you lady of the harbor. So it was with my own kin. They sailed from Sweden and from France and Ireland, their earthly cares packed in their bags. They cast their gaze upon the lady of the harbor, and she welcomes them with open arms. She says, "Let my children in." Shine on, oh you lady of the harbor. Now we're locking down the borders and we're filling up the jails, and we say they don't belong. How conveniently do we forget that we've all come to sing the same sweet song. Survive the strain? Will huddled masses have a chance to learn its sweet refrain? Or will we fall into our fears and turn our backs against the lady of the harbor. And she welcomes them with open arms. She says, "Let my children in." Shine on, shine on, oh you lady of the harbor. Shine on, shine on, oh you lady of the harbor. Shine on, shine on, oh you lady of the harbor. Oh you lady of the harbor.
I grew up outside of Boston, and our family tradition each year on Thanksgiving was to drive down to Plymouth Plantation and the Mayflower too, the replica of the Mayflower, and spend a few hours in the coldest 40 degrees I have ever felt in my life. Have any of you been to either of those, Plymouth Plantation? Yeah. So these are historical reenactments. In Plymouth Plantation, you walk through and the houses there are all constructed just exactly like they were in 1620. The Mayflower, too, is a board-for-board reproduction of that original ship. And they're filled with reenactors, people in costume role-playing the parts of how their lives were 400 years ago, not knowing anything about contemporary events, but ready to explain what they were doing, making bread or crafting furniture. As a kid then, and now too, I appreciate the concreteness of that experience. The reenactors and interpreters did not speak in grandiose terms about how the lives of the colonists shaped America and us today. They talked about their lived reality, how to make bread and thatch a roof, how quick the sick colonists died, how cramped and awful smelling it was below decks for 2 months in the Mayflower. I appreciate that because on the eve of an election with Thanksgiving following, we're in this season right now where politicians and teachers and textbooks retell the creation myth of America. A Thanksgiving story of virtuous pilgrims arriving in a new and empty world to set up a shining city on a hill. That's the words of John Winthrop, the first governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. A shining city on the hill, seen by all the world, chosen by God as an exception, united in purpose, charitable toward all, working for the common good. That's the creation myth of this country. That's part of it, anyway. But the biggest liberty in that story is the liberty it takes with the facts. Because John Winthrop did not have a vision for a just, compassionate, inclusive, unified nation. He deeply opposed democratic rule. He created a theocracy whose boundaries were defined by social and religious conformity. And if you violated those boundaries, you were exiled to Rhode Island. Which is not hyperbole. That is literally what one of the consequences was. Winthrop was delighted, horribly, at the massive scale of death of the native people who lived there. He approved the sale of Native Americans into slavery. Whatever story New England went on to tell about its relationship with slavery, it had a robust slave trade through the 1600s and much of the 1700s. Governor Winthrop resoundingly endorsed a class system that he acknowledged without regret would keep him on top and most people everywhere perpetually poor. And I'm aware that this sort of sounds like a bad campaign commercial. John Winthrop said he wanted equality. But instead, he established theocracy. John Winthrop, bad for democracy, bad for America. But I mean, in fact, this is a man who did not believe in anything like the inherent worth and dignity of every person, in anything like an interconnected web of life. And it's easy to dismiss this cynically if you know the history. It's easy to ignore this story as revisionism if you don't. None of this came as a surprise, after all, to Langston Hughes nearly a century ago. There's never been equality for me, he said, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. The old creation story of America omits that colonization was built on top of genocide and slavery. Founded in genocide and slavery, it's easy to say those words as if I'm trying to get you mad at the history left unspoken. Or it's easy to say those words and just sort of leave the room like vaguely ashamed and uneasy about a past y'all didn't have anything to do with. And it's easier, too, to tell all of the history as history. William Faulkner says the past isn't behind us. It's not even the past. But we follow a rougher road in this community. We hold the honest pain of history in one hand and exactly at the same time. Without diminishing this one bit, we hold to the beauty of that ever unfulfilled vision. Because here's the thing, despite the colonizers' near total failure to live up to their own values, the vision's their own. He said, we will rejoice together and mourn together. We will labor together and suffer together. We will always have before us in our eyes our community as members of the same body. It's what Dr. King said 3 centuries later, that same dream. We are tied together in a single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. The failure, generation after generation of America to live up to its dream doesn't mean the dream's wrong, it just adds a lot of complexity and irony to the thing. We haven't lost some justice and compassion we formerly had. We never had it, really. Make America great again? Pick a decade. You can't be honest about our progress toward realizing the American dream unless we accept the American reality. That the person who wrote all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among these, life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, that man owned human beings and thought it was a perfectly fine and normal thing to do. And that fact doesn't make the aspiration toward human rights any less true. It just makes it more complicated. The irony of my country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, does not diminish the call to let freedom ring. In fact, the plain story makes those lyrics truer. Land where my fathers died, impoverished, enslaved, land of the pilgrim's pride that kept them even from seeing the basic humanity of their neighbors. That land does need to let freedom ring. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality in the air we breathe. My colleague, the Reverend Ashley Horan makes it plain what it takes for that to be true. She says, when we give our deepest loyalty to the thing we've built, the nation, the government, the church, rather than giving our deepest loyalty to the principles which led us to build it in the first place, we undercut the potential of democracy to create the conditions of possibility for collective liberation. In other words, real patriotism requires a loyalty to the principles of this nation over the institutions of it in the current form they take. Real patriotism makes those principles real by facing our failures and saying, how do we do this better? It requires a genuine originalism which is not a return to how society was organized in 1776, but a return to the virtues that society held but was incapable of realizing, like the true equality of humanity, the inherent worth and dignity of every person which on their best days they claimed but never made real. Virtues like a care for the common good, which does not tolerate the poverty in which we allow 40 million fellow citizens to live in this country. The essence of our national dream is not that we are or ever have been wholly a land of liberty and opportunity and equality, but that we, the people, are working toward a destination we may not reach. Our aspirations to opportunity and freedom are no less real or worthwhile for our inability to do them perfectly. The past wasn't a failure, it was incomplete. And the present isn't a failure either, it's incomplete. And we aren't failures, we're incomplete. All of us a work in progress. When we pledge allegiance, we speak of the republic for which that flag stands. And I don't think it means the republic as it is right now. I don't think we're pledging allegiance to the United States of America as it exists on November 6, 2022 at 11:45. I think the republic for which it stands is the land, the poet says, that never has been yet, and yet must be. The creation myth we tell can keep us trapped in nostalgia for a non-existent past greatness, or it can open the road to the future, a road to that yet unrealized republic for which the church, for which the flag stands. And I think for which we stand too, I hope. It's a slow thing, this democratic process, which we believe in so strongly that it is in among our principles. It goes 2 steps forwards and 1 back. And sometimes, y'all, the reality is it goes 2 steps back and no steps forward. In 2015, on the 50th anniversary of the Selma marches, I preached on our unfinished work for racial justice to a house half of whom had marched in those years. And we sung old freedom songs, and we celebrated the past, and we faced all the work that's left unfinished. And after the service, an elder came up to me, an African-American woman elder. She came up to me with a subtle and a complicated set of emotions on her face. Dr. Norma Poinsett stood about 5 feet tall in her Sunday suit, impeccable. She played tennis seriously late into her 70s. And a decade after that, she still moved confidently, though her body was slowing down. Dr. Poinsett had marched and organized and worked for equality through committee meetings and protests and teaching, through election. She had served on the national board of our Unitarian Universalist Association, and she had held like some of you, every position you can hold in a church. She looked up at me that morning with certainty and sadness and said, so many years later, and I didn't think we'd still have to be singing freedom songs. So many years later, I didn't think we'd still have to. Certainty and sadness, yes, and wonder and hope too. Because even in that grief or disappointment, she knew down to the bones of her being that every generation sits in the shade of trees it did not plant and drinks from wells it did not dig. Every generation plants trees whose fruit it won't eat. Dr. Poinsett wondered at the work still left unfinished, but she also knew this is what it is to work for justice. She knew there's no finish line when everything's over and done. We don't go vote our values because any one election's going to make it all right. But that vote is one important tool in a toolbox to change the world. It sits in there right alongside direct action and education and awareness building. It sits in there with transforming relationships and political pressure. You vote because it matters to make the values that you believe in real in the world. And you vote clear-eyed that it's not a finish line. That vote, a responsible vote, isn't just about who you're voting for, it's also about who you're voting from. Who are you voting from? Who are the neighbors whose lives and concerns you bring into the booth with you? Are you voting just for you or for them also, for us? Who are the people whose lives your vote will touch? An unseen host that surrounds you as you fill out your mail-in ballot on the dining room table. In this house, we talk not just about what we're committed to, not just who we are, but whose we are. We're not separate, the poet says. And across race and class and creed, when we vote, it is a shared future we're voting for. So I'm willing to be hopeful. And we're going to sing it in just a minute. Ben, will you give us a little bit of this? We'll finish this up. We're going to sing it. If we only need to make America great like it used to be, that doesn't draw the circle any wider. If the important rights have all already been won, there's no work for us to do. And if we ourselves have to be pure and perfect before calling each other to justice, well, that's paralysis pretty quick. But this Holly Near song we're going to sing, I am willing, it's not that we're all whole and unbroken and our forebears pure. She says there is hurting in my family and there's sorrow in the town. She says there's panic in the nation, I feel that right now, and wailing the whole world around. And what then? And what then? It's a commitment to the future, a prayer we'll sing together, that the children see more clearly and the elders be more wise, that the winds of change caress us even though they burn our eyes. We'll sing it all together. I am open and I am willing. To be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. Friends, will you rise in body or in spirit and sing that commitment all together?
I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem is wailing, the whole world round.
For I am willing, and I am willing for to be open. The sea so strange, it dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up
To
the
the
light of change. May the children see more clearly. May the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though it burns our eyes. For I am open, and I am willing for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. Give me a mighty hold to hold my confusion. Give me a desert to hold my fears.
Give me a sun instead to hold my wonder. Give me an ocean to hold my tears.
For I am open, and I am willing for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change.
This month, we share our plate with Boulder Food Rescue. Share our plate means that we give half of our collected offerings to one of the nonprofit charitable organizations that help make Boulder such a wonderful community. Each of these monthly recipient organizations has been nominated by a member of this congregation and confirmed by a vote of all of us at our annual meeting. I think you'll really enjoy the following short video describing Boulder Food Rescue's food distribution and no-cost grocery program.
Good morning, my friends. I am on my bike, obviously, and I'm going to meet my friend Hayden, who runs an incredible organization here in Boulder called Boulder Food Rescue. And what they do is they rescue food from grocery stores, and then they distribute it to people in need all across Boulder, and they do it on bikes.
So at every donor site, we have bikes and trailers locked up. And what that does is it enables volunteers who either don't have bikes or, probably most volunteers don't have trailers to utilize our equipment. So as a volunteer, I can come to the site, I can unlock the bikes and trailers, do the shift, and then I come back and I lock it up. And then we have like food sorting guides, things like this is what a good, mango might look like. This is like not so good. The idea behind it is we want to sort food as best as possible because we don't want to distribute things that are actually bad and put that burden on the people receiving the food. So we just compost everything here that we aren't able to distribute. All right, so we're gonna go down to the loading dock and ask for the food. They usually have a receiver or a produce manager or someone here at the store who puts it aside for us.
What's it feel like to be part of this program and helping out Boulder Food Rescue and being part of the community in this way?
It's very exciting. I'm really glad that we're able to do it. We have sometimes we have inexperienced order writers. Sometimes we have sales that just don't happen and we thought they would. So we have some extra products. So it's great that we can take it to a place that can use it right away.
These cantaloupes are gonna be heavy.
This looks like a lot of food, Hayden. I don't know how we're gonna get this all on the bikes.
All right, I'm giving you all the cantaloupes and melons, and I'll take the mushrooms. That's how we're gonna do it.
Sounds good.
We never know what we're gonna get. It's kind of different depending on what they're pulling that day. So we just kind of go through it, and people will find out, I guess, as we go.
Tomatoes.
These bananas are growing because they, maybe has a slight brown spot, but they're actually really ripe. It's like kind of perfect to eat.
That's a good pepper right there. It's the real deal. 400 pounds of food coming through. I've carried a lot of weight on my big bike tours. Not even close to this much weight. This is super heavy, but it's pretty efficient with these big trailers. Wide loads coming through. This is really fun, and what makes it so much fun is that we're doing this on bikes. This is a human-powered effort right here. And when things are carried human-powered, they're carried with love. And that's what this is all about. We're not only distributing food, we're distributing food with a touch of love.
You got everything on your trailer stuff?
I think I have everything. It looks like it's all there. It sounds like it's all bouncing off every time I hit a bump, but oh look, it's green! Go! Ah, we got this! Top speed! Ah. Hooray for the downhills! Sharp left. All right, we made it. All in one piece and no broken eggs. All right, so where are we?
So we're at a housing complex called Red Oak Park, and residents here help receive the food and take it in and sort it out and call neighbors, and they're called grocery program coordinators. They're an active part of how all of this works, and it enables people to help out, to get involved, and to help create food access in their own communities.
Buenos días, amigos y amigas.
Most places set up this kind of setup where it's like what we call a grocery program. It's essentially like a no-cost grocery store, and people can come through. You can see people bring bags, and they fill up their bags, and they take what they need. People in the community, they know each other, so they're looking out for each other. As Boulder Food Rescue, we support them, but they really get to have power and ownership and a say in how these resources get transferred amongst their community. And so it not only gives food, it's not only about giving a resource away, it's about giving power away, it's about giving people a voice, giving people a way to participate, giving them a hand in actually creating a system that works for them.
I invite you to give as generously as you are able. For those online, you can use the QR code or find a link in the video description. For those gathered in person, you can scan this QR code or make a donation as the ushers now pass the baskets. May our gifts be used to enact justice, bringing peace and love to the Boulder community.
Thank you for your generosity. So many years later, and here we are still hurting and hopeful, open and willing, working 2 steps forward and 1 back, and then 2 back, and then even more back, and then forward again. Here we go. Amen.
Go your way in peace, wander as you may. Blessed is the path you take, may love guide you on your way. Go your way in peace, wander as you may. Blessed is the path you take, may love guide you